You never met a man like me. You wouldn't understand. I'm in a rock and roll business, honey. Well, I'm in a rock and roll band.
Good morning. Welcome to the Rockstar Fitness Podcast with my co-hosts, the wonderful Simon Dutton of Make Coaching and Mr. Rob McGeary from Fat Loss Fat Lane. So today we're going to have a little chat about influencers and clickbait. And the reason we're doing that is because Rob here, he gets kind of het up. He gets, as the Americans or the Texans would put it, he gets ornery about it. Why does it wind you up so much? I want to get to that first of all. Why do the influence clickbait articles? Why does it get to you?
Well, there's two parts to that story. One, since Twitter was invented, I've been a professional Twitter arguer. So there's that part of me that just wants to argue with people anyway in as short a character frame as I can. The other one is, and this is the more relevant one, is I hate seeing people screwed out of money or having their time wasted when we know what is more likely going to work for them. That's where it comes from, a place of love rather than anger, I think. It might not.
Simon, what do you think? I know you're a little bit more, I think you're probably a little bit more in line with my thoughts on this, but I'm sure you've got your own take on it.
Yeah, I just want to give a warning to Rob now. You know, like he's saying, it's a place from love, not anger. JP's going to poke you for a stick for the next 35 minutes until it becomes anger, right? You know, this is how this works.
It's fine.
I'm probably somewhere in the middle, I reckon, between the two sides. I think, you know, the two topics you sort of brought up there were influence and clickbait articles. And I think, you know, we can get into clickbait stuff later on, which doesn't bother me as much. Influencers, I'm probably slightly more on Rob's side with this. And I think it comes from the sort of same thing. I mean, like, when we're looking at, I don't mind influencers if they're vaguely in the field that we're supposed to be. I don't get annoyed by people like V-Shred, like the rest of the industry seems to be incredibly angry at V-Shred right now. Because yes, okay, he's a model, he's a conglomerate, but he's
Simon, let me stop you there for a second, right? I just want to cover this. V-Shred is the fucking Milli Vanilli of fitness.
Oh, I wouldn't pay money for his program, but I think it's pointless arguing about V-Shred.
The Milli Vanilli of the fitness world, right? He's just a pretty face that's been hired to front this, program that's been, like you said, it's all managed by like a whole bunch of shady well, not say shady, but a whole bunch of internet marketers and social media marketers. I don't mind somebody coming along being shit, right? What I mind is somebody shit coming along being hired to just be a face so that other people can because all that's going to happen with that is it'll get to the point where V-Shred's no longer, viable. He can't be used as the face of the company anymore. They'll dump him, they'll replace him, they'll rebrand, and they'll start again, right?
But that's my point, right? With something like V-Shred, it gets to the point where he's so untouchable because he's this conglomerate of people who are just going to throw money at it and just change the face every single time, that getting annoyed about it is completely out of our control. The people that get annoyed about V-Shred on YouTube are often there to really kind of do what V-Shred's doing and push their own profiles because their videos aren't going to touch V-Shred.
No.
Now, I think where the things that probably irk me a little bit more, because I think this is something where we can educate people to make better choices, is the Made in Chelsea contingent and people buying fitness products off somebody because they're on telly rather than having any sort of fitness expertise, education, know-how whatsoever, rather than being semi-slim. And I think that's where that probably gets me more, because I know that we can put a message out there saying, do you know what, there are the kind of people to avoid, and we can explain why you avoid this. But someone like V-Shred explaining his shit for someone that doesn't know the difference between shit and good, all we get is them going, well, to my mind, he's a personal trainer, but I can convince people not to get fitness products of Jamie Lang or Louise Thompson. That's where I want to, I push back a little bit.
Okay, I mean, let me ask you some questions, right? Do your target demographic, do they watch and pay attention to people on Made in Chelsea or Towie or any of these shows?
Do you mind? Some of them probably do.
How many of them are the type that are likely to be influenced by these things? Let's just put it that way.
After actually interacting with me or people in the actual industry a little bit more, probably not. But when they first stumble on your profile, they might not be.
That the majority of people that are going to pay for you or me or Rob's services tends to be in the more informed, I don't want to say intelligent, but the more informed sector of society. Like my clients, I've never had any of my clients ask me about any of these influencers and what they've posted. Never, not once in 10 years. And that includes when I worked in a budget gym in Basildon.
So let me throw you a question back here. Have you ever had a client that may not want to do this now or ever asks about them now, but have you ever had a client that has done, before coming to you, a Herbalife, a booty, a fad product at all? Has anyone ever come to you having done it? So these are the people that have gone through
not a
this
booty,
shit to get to you.
not a booty,
Yeah.
never any of that. But I've had clients that, and I don't even call this a fad, right? I would suggest it's a definite system that does work. I mean, Herbalife, if you follow their plan, you'll get lighter, you'll get leaner. Weight Watchers, if you follow their plan, you'll get. I mean, there's nobody's denying that these things work, right?
They make some money with Herbalife as well.
They don't work in the long term because they kind of become self-fulfilling. You have to keep going back, but it's a structure. You put a structure in anything, and it's going to work for people, right? So yeah, I've had people that have done Lighter Life, Cambridge. I've had people that have done all of these things, and I would hazard that none of these things that I'm talking about market themselves as a magic bullet. Booty, I would say, markets itself as a kind of a magic bullet, right? And that's what I'm railing against here, is that you know, none of these influencers are targeting the demographic of people that I would necessarily want to work with. They're targeting the people that are looking for the quick fix, magic bullet, and are very, very uninformed about how this all works, and probably don't want to hear the words, "It takes hard work." And so therefore, if an influencer's out there posting things and suggesting that they've got this magic bullet and that, you know, just follow their plan and you'll be in shape in next to no time, you know, go for it, do your thing, like shoot your bolt. The fact of the matter is, this is just like an extension of Darwinism, in my opinion. Right?
That's true. I can agree with that bit, 100%.
But if they are silly enough to not put the actual a little bit of research into it and spend money on something that is clearly, to anyone that's informed, clearly not going to work, then that's on them. I'm fine with that, you know. And at the end of the day, I don't want anybody to waste their money. I don't want anybody to get a sort of an idea in their head that they just simply can't do it because, oh, the magic bullet didn't work. The fact of the matter is, what works is putting in the work. What works is taking a longer term approach to this that doesn't revolve around, you know, a month on shakes and nothing else, you know, or longer, or some tea that's supposed to. I don't even know how. Like, I don't know anything about booty. That's how informed I am about these things, because my clients aren't gonna ask me about this, right? And for the most part, my clients aren't going to ask me about most of this clickbait nonsense. Now, I got one question last week about the dad bod thing, right? Which I found interesting, because the guy that's asked me the question is, you know, he's trying to get in shape so that he appeals to the opposite sex, and it works. You know, he's been significantly better output in that respect. He's ticking along nicely. And he's going, is this? What do you think of this? And I just went back to him saying, what do you think of this? He said, I think it's bullshit. I went, well, there you go. You know my opinion. You've answered the question yourself. That the whole thing about
Rob, what's your response?
Well, this is the thing. The clickbaity stuff. There's two elements to it. One of which being those sort of weird adverts that pop up on, at the end of an article or something that say, drink this and you'll lose £10 overnight and stuff like that. And you'd hope no one in their right mind or even in their wrong mind is going to click on that thing anyway, because it just looks like spam. But the clickbait stuff that's coming from our, I don't want to say reputable, but our most well-known media outlets, always has an agenda behind it, because it's not to help people's health, it's to fill the pockets of their shareholders and what have you. And a article about a dad bod or COVID or fat loss or wine for your heart or all this stuff.
We've all got an agenda. The entire planet's got an agenda. We're all trying to get ahead, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, if you don't want to get triggered by fucking Daily Mail clickbait articles, Rob, stop reading the Daily Mail.
I can't stop reading them. I need to employ the marketing techniques they were using when I was there into my own thing, and then I'll be unstoppable.
So just write a whole bunch of clickbait.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the answer.
That's my point we were saying before about the what reason why I can see the argument why people, including myself at times, be annoyed by influencers, because they are potentially putting some big people on quite dangerous plans for the sake of they haven't done the research, they don't know what's going on. Clickbait itself doesn't bother me, because clickbait essentially is just getting people to stop traffic on Instagram, right? And if anyone that spends any time on Rob's Instagram knows that he's a master of doing clickbait right? You stop traffic on the Canva post on his page, right? But that's different from necessarily a Daily Mail headline.
If that was aimed at me, I'd be sitting here going, fuck you, Simon. Fuck you.
I have to agree. Yeah, I have to agree. All I want to do is, I want to do two things. One, to educate, and if I can't educate, I'm going to try and entertain you. So those are the two things I try and do in my content.
Look, it's interruption marketing, right? What everybody's doing it to a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, having a podcast is interruption marketing. It's this right here, what we're doing. Hi guys, come and see my website, come and see Rob and Simon's websites, and decide which one of us has got the more awesome beard, and then obviously sign up with that guy. So it's all marketing, right? Everything in life is. Being in better shape is marketing. But it has benefits that kind of carry over into every other area of your life. And that's kind of what I think. These clickbait articles, right? The people that hire me, they're not interested in it because it's superficial and it's shallow, right? And what we do is, to a degree, superficial and shallow, because we're trying to make people look better naked, right? But there's more that goes with it than that. It's taking back control of your life, taking back control of your body and your metabolism, and having the ability to learn how to fit this shit into your actual life, so that you're not spending £600 a month on shakes. You're able to eat real food. You're able to move. You're able to do so without your joints all telling you that you're really old and you probably shouldn't move. You're able to sleep well. You're able to function better at work. Your cognitive function is improved. The things that I get back from my clients, feedback-wise, that make me happiest are not the before and after pictures where I'm looking at them going, "This is awesome." But, that happens. The things I get back are the things where they're telling me that they've got more energy, more capacity in the rest of their life because this shit's taken care of, right? They're more capable because they're fitter, they're healthier, they're stronger. They're able to run around with their kids. They're able to feel more confident going into business meetings because they have a more imposing physique. It's just confidence there, right? Having a more imposing physique doesn't make a damn bit of difference to your negotiating power or to your ability to present. But if it makes you feel better, you're going to do a better job, right? So all of this stuff is, These are the things that matter. And you're not going to get these things when you're drinking a whole bunch of shakes to try and get in shape, or drinking a whole bunch of tea and wondering why your bank balance is the only thing reducing. You know, so my clients, the type of people that sign up to my plans, my programs, my training packages, they're not the type of people that are coming in and going, hey, so I've bought myself 2 months supply of booty to go hand in hand with what we're doing here. It's never happened. I've never had anybody ask me about exogenous ketones. I've never had anybody ask me about, you know, skinny teas or anything like that. Never, not once. I'll get asked questions about things that you know, like fat burners, but like fat burners that are aimed at physique athletes, where you're looking at them going, you do know that you work in private equity, right? And that you don't really want to feel the way this is going to make you feel all day long. You know, that's the kind of question you get. But
what's the average, JP, what's the average age of your demographic? What kind of stuff how old are your clients normally?
35 plus.
35 plus, right? So if the question, or the counter argument I potentially would say to that is that you said that these guys might have done some of these things prior to you, but they certainly don't do it now because they're more informed, right? Would you not, in hindsight, knowing these clients and got to know these clients, wanted to have saved them wasting lots of time earlier in life and potentially not making your job harder by, you know, wrecking them, having these emotional connections to food or whatever these crazy crash diets might have done to them? Would you not have wanted, in hindsight, save that time and have been able to reach them earlier?
What, be able to get a whole bunch of perfect clients?
Well, yeah, we're just being able to like help them avoid those mistakes.
Where's the fun in that? No, look, I get where you're coming from, but the fact of the matter is, people need to make mistakes. Human beings need to make mistakes. Like you don't learn from being perfect. You learn from making mistakes. You learn from fucking up. So guys, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I've made tons of mistakes, well done.
Yeah.
Right? Well done. Like, I've made a shit ton. I've made tons of mistakes, left, right, and center. Relationship mistakes, financial mistakes, you know, business mistakes, training mistakes for myself. You know, I've made loads of mistakes, and you know, it means that you're experimenting. It means that you're trying new things, because you know, if you've got something that works really, really well, you tend not to go away from it. You tend not to move away from it. But you get to make mistakes like once, because after that, as Rob knows, you don't make a mistake twice, because the second time you've made a choice. So, on
that, JP.
Yeah.
If something you make a mistake with your training or you make a mistake with your diet, because you're in this field and you nerd out on this stuff, you go and learn more and change it. Whereas someone might not know a mistake's a mistake, because they might do something like a Cambridge diet and go, lost 5 kilos. And then when something happens again, they crash off it, their first thought is, well, I did the Cambridge diet a year ago and that worked. And then they repeat this thing. Yeah. There's a cycle, because someone has too much information. It's not their passion. And they don't learn.
That's the way the diet industry works, right? It's kind of designed to have you be initially successful and then kind of like a crack addict, relapse, right? And that's just part of the way it works. And look, you'll have had clients that have worked with you, and I know you put a ton of time and effort into educating your clients and getting them to the point where they should be able to handle this on their own, right? But you'll still get people that come back and say to you, oh, the only time I've ever lost weight is when I work with you. Like I've heard it recently, and it's like, well, you know, you do know that there is a degree of personal responsibility in this, and that you should be able to, when you walk away from a minimum package, right, minimum 3-month package that I sell, you should be able to walk away from that with a pretty good understanding of what you need to do, right? And so if you didn't do it, then it's not the knowledge that you're lacking, it's you're not holding yourself accountable. You're not putting yourself in the mirror and going, right, I'm coaching you. You're just going, oh, well, you know, I kind of wanted to eat pancakes and muffins, so I did. And now I'm out of shape, and so now I'm going to do the thing that I know worked previously, instead of doing the thing that I know I should do, which is I should get my diet under control. I should keep an eye on what I'm eating. I should move a bit more and let the process work. No, I want to go and see Simon, because when I worked with Simon before, it was fast and it worked. And what you find with those clients is, because they've romanticized in their head how quickly this happened and how amazing they looked, they've kind of romanticized this, that they'll make the kind of progress that you expect from that client, but it will be slower than they were expecting. And you're kind of managing expectations that are going in. So I'm not, clients coming back after 12 months on lockdown, right? They're all going to be coming in and thinking that, okay, a couple of weeks, I'll be back in shape. Probably not. You've had a year.
We're gonna be, but the three of us are gonna make the pancake and muffin diet now. So 6-week fast track pancake and muffin diet. And we're gonna put it all over Instagram. Rob's gonna make some clickbait on Canva, and we're gonna make millions.
See, I don't like pancakes. I like crepes. And
all right, keep that.
Consider I'm not a francophile, right? I like crepes.
There's 2 shakes a day, a crepe, and a booty before bed, and you're done. See, it's our diet. We'll make millions.
Crepes is it?
Yeah, exactly. We're all too ugly, so we'll hire an actor.
Whoa!
Fucking speak. And we're good.
What an asshole. Rob and I are good looking guys. It's not my fault your modelling career tanked.
Yeah, it did.
Did you know this, Rob? Simon used to be a model.
No, I didn't. I was not aware of this.
Not really. My ex-girlfriend did it, and I tend to like get the props and get photos taken at the same time. So it was like she did something with an AT-AT and a stormtrooper's helmet, and I'm like, I've got to wear the stormtrooper's helmet, And I'm lean at the time, so like I've got like loads of weird pictures of me as a stormtrooper, and silly shit like that. But yeah, no, I wasn't a model.
You do love a smolder though, don't you, Simon?
Well, it's because every time a photographer takes 100 photos of me, if I smile 99 of them, he'll only use the one where I don't. Clearly, I don't have a nice smile.
I mean, it's friendly.
No, it's true. Okay, I'll take that. Let's not go any further on that.
It's a friend. I mean, look, Rob, he loves a smolder, right? He loves a smolder.
Oh, there you go. He's found it.
Look at that. Look he's got the pout on. It's a
pout. It's not a smolder.
Smoldering off into the distance.
Incredible. Yeah.
Smolder. Mm. He loves a smolder.
I'm looking for where my next booty comes from.
He's looking for where the next crepe Suzette comes from.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, you thought I was going to poke Rob all the day. So, yeah, I mean, my take on the whole influencer clickbait thing is I don't pay attention to it because it doesn't affect my business. Because the kind of people that are going to work with me, they're not paying attention to this crap. And if they are, they're getting annoyed by it. So, like Victoria likes to read the Daily Mail like Rob, and she'll send me things and just to try and wind me up. And it doesn't work because I don't pay attention to this crap.
Do you just forward them all to Rob?
I do. Send.
The saddest part of it is like what you were saying earlier about we have to let people make mistakes. We have to. And as great as it would be, and some of us do in our marketing or other people do in their marketing, say, I've made the mistakes, you don't have to, so here's the thing that's going to work for you. We do kind of take away a bit of a rite of passage for some people. But the saddest fact of it is some people will just make mistakes their entire life and never have the introspection to realize they're making mistakes, and will end up 70 and go, what the fuck have I done with my life? And we can't help everyone, and we can't help those people. Saddest fact of the matter is that.
Well, I mean, it's the old adage, right? I'd rather have regrets than you know where I'm going,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You know, you're not making mistakes. You're not trying. Right? And I don't have a problem with anybody making mistakes. I don't have a problem with anybody trying any of these things. and realizing that, or even if it does, if it works, right? And like I said, almost all of these things are built around a system. And if you follow a system, if you have something in place that's structured, the chances are you're going to be successful, right? But is it the structure that you really need, or is it the learning and the understanding behind the structure that you need? That's what you should all be thinking about when you're out there looking for, oh, I need a result. I need to get in shape because summer's coming, or I've got a wedding coming up, or lockdown's been shit. I need something that's gonna sort of get me where I want to be. And say, okay, well, first things first, you need to realize that you will never be where you want to be, because every time you get there, the goalposts move, right? You should always be getting to that point thinking that it's the finish line and realizing that it's the start line. This is your opportunity to take advantage of what you've just done and leverage it to get better. What's next? It should always be what's next. And it might be, I've got abs now, but what I really want to do next is I want to be able to run an ultra marathon. Okay, cool. That's what's next. Yeah. So that's what we go to.
I think it's really important to sort of like, I explain that to clients from the off. Like, part of the initial things in the system that sort of I kind of use to give a bit of direction for clients, initially I call it a reset phase. And that's about sort of like getting people, if you want clickbait, resetting their health, resetting the things to do in the gym. But it's also, I explain from the off, it's like, this is just the start. This isn't your 12-week transformation. This is getting you to a starting point. And then we start to build things for the next. Your actual finishing point is after 4 or 5 of these. And in between of that, there's a couple of cycles of 18 months or so where, you get comfortable being a bit fluffy again and putting some weight on the bar. And it's like, your first diet is just seeing where things start. Mm-hmm. It is not the finished article. And I explain that early. People aren't sitting there waiting for it to be amazing. Then they go, oh, I'm not as big as I thought I was. I don't look like, I don't look like CT Fletcher after my first diet. And I'm like, yeah, you were never going to. But if you don't explain it from the off, people end up disappointed.
Because you're from Scotland, and you. Look, it's exactly the same thing that I do, right? I get people on board, and what we're doing here is we're doing that. Everybody signs up to the sexy self, right? Everybody signs up to the 12-week transformation, and that's great. I'm going to do my best to get that for you in that time frame, keeping you as healthy as possible, and having you get to a point where you're in the best shape that you've been in, or you're in as good a shape as we can get you in that 12 weeks without wrecking you, so that you can take advantage of the next 12 weeks, right? But yeah, it's being very clear on day one that you've signed up for the sexy sale. I'm going to deliver the sexy sale, but you need to be thinking about now, what's next? Where do you actually want to go with this? Because if you just sign up for the sexy sale and that's all you're interested in, the chances are 6 months down the line, you're going to be back at square one, because you're not going to take on board any of the things that you should be during this process. You're not going to take on board the lessons. You're not going to apply the right sort of habits to your life, right? And I'm big on self-acceptance. Simon knows this. Rob knows this. We've talked about this before. You have to kind of accept that you have got things in your personality and your nature that are simply you, and that they're practically impossible to change without really wrenching your entire life, right? And you can use those things. Like, if you're terrible at keeping an eye on your food prep on a daily basis, then pick a day and do it then. Do a Sunday ritual. I know I'm not going to get up tomorrow and cook all my meals at 6 a.m. when I've got to get on the train at 7. I know I'm not going to do it. So should I do it the night before? Probably. I'm tired. Yeah, but tomorrow you're going to be sitting there thinking to yourself at this time, oh man, I really wish I'd done my meals last night. I've spent all day eating crap, muffins and pancakes, that fucking Robb McGeary diet. So it's about understanding where your strengths are and leveraging those, understanding where your weaknesses are, and trying to get them to work for you if possible. That's kind of where it should be, right? The door's being knocked. I'm not going to get it. Tori will get it.
Yeah, I think
we have a rule in here, right? If the door knocks, I go. It's because I want to make sure that I open the door and that anybody that's there sees me angry. But obviously I'm busy, so I don't know what she's collecting. What have you got?
It's a present for you. I'll open it and bring it in.
It's a present from me. This is exciting.
Subscription of Booty.
Yeah, it's a year subscription to Booty. She's literally not still listening, and she's ordered it on like Express.
The Daily Mail subscription for the next year.
Yeah. I was going to talk about client adherence, but we're not going to have time. We've got like 5 minutes left on this one. We're going to run it down, chat some shit, and we'll talk about client adherence on the next one.
That can go on many tangents. That's a whole episode in itself. Client adherence, I think.
Absolutely.
Since I drank,
Oh my
you're
God.
not rolling.
Oh my God.
What you got?
Oh my God.
Oh mate. Oh,
Ah,
now we're talking.
it's game over, boys. I'm done.
Ridiculous.
We've got about 5 minutes and 6 seconds on the clock for you to finish it.
This is because Victoria drank all of my Lagavulin. Right, I bought the Lagavulin 16, and she complained that it's too smoky, too peaty. I don't like it. It's too rough. And then she sat and drank it all. I've been slowly but surely educating her on whiskey, and obviously there only is Scotch. There's no other whiskey. We're not even going to entertain the idea of anything else. So she's obviously Irish, so she likes to try and claim that there's Irish whiskey. Right? If you're Irish and you're watching this and that offends you,
If you're Irish and you're watching this, drink some good whiskey.
yeah, buy a bottle of Scotch. So this is like literally the best day of my life right now. 18-year-old Carlisle. Oh,
Does that place in Shoreditch still exist with a really, really good whiskey house? So with the house brew under the trees with the tap. Used to be under Blackrock, I think it's called. Used to be down the road from City on Paul Street. So really, really small underground whiskey place. They've got these like loads of cabinets full of just like whiskies from around the world and a whole cabinet of Scotch. And then there's these the tables are big long trees, and there's a tap at the end of it, and it's their own house one that's brewed in there.
look, the only thing on Paul Street I remember was the place that my client ran, which was the super upmarket strip club, where it really, really expensive strip club, where it was like you had to hire private rooms, and it was like £900 an hour for the private rooms.
I'll check when travel's allowed and I can come back. We'll go to this whiskey place. We took Kevin and Marta to like a leadership meeting back in London, and like them two did not like whiskey at all. We had good old John Georgeson and me going nuts on it, and then Marta was just sitting in the corner trying to have anything else. Took her about an hour and a half to drink this small glass of whiskey.
Surprises me. It surprises me.
She's the toughest woman in Europe. I'm surprised you didn't down it in one.
Surprised you didn't eat the glass. Rob, did you ever meet Marta? Was Marta still around when you were?
Oh yeah. And multiple.
Bro. And then she went off to do stand-up, which, I mean, in hindsight, I can see, but when you first meet Marta, like, really? Stand-up?
Yeah. She's mega funny when you get past that into the tough poet exterior, though, right?
That's how angry she is.
Yeah. I remember going to a gig with her. It's when I lived in Greenwich, and there was this thing basically called blackout. So people had like 4 X's in the crowd. If you got 2 minutes to do their set, and then they were to survive another 2 minutes. If 3 of the 4 X's went up, the lights went out, and you were like shunned off stage. It was one of those brutal nights ever.
And on that note, Rob and I are turning our lights off. You're gone, and this podcast is a bust. I'm going to stop it right there.